So a whopping $851 million of combined financial losses were reported in 2020 alone in scams. Making this an issue, we wanted to ensure that you felt empowered to navigate and able to discern the difference between something that is genuine messaging versus something that could potentially cost you dearly. Here to help us break down what's real and what should be deleted or avoided and ignored is our resident scamming identification expert, Paul Ditrih from Superior IT. Hi, Paul.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for attending today. It's really, really cool. Thanks for being a part of this. We've joined up with the ACCC and it's Scam Awareness Week. So we're trying to raise as much awareness as we can about scams. A little bit about me. I'm the Managing Director of Superior IT. We're based out here in St Mary's, been in the local area for about 15 years now. And we specialise in helping small business manage their cyber risk, as well as providing IT support. So let me jump into it. I'll just quickly do my screen share. Cool. Everyone can see my screen okay?
And Paul, is it okay if people have questions that they can either put their hand up or...
Sure, yeah. Well, yes, thanks for jumping in there.
Bit of interaction.
Cool. All right, yeah, so like I said, this is to try and raise awareness of the scams so you can avoid them, and also to use your knowledge to help others as well. So hopefully you're going to take away some important things. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do an activity. So this is a pulse check to see if you can identify what's a scam and what's not a scam. So all of these are real examples. Pay attention to the message itself. It's from like some of these texts are from an iPhone or an Android device. So it's more about the message. So if you can, just raise your hand if you think it is a scam or if they are a real message. So this is our first one. Just raise your hand if you think this one's fake. There's no right or wrong question here, no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
So. I'll say fake.
All right, cool. Okay, so this is our second one.
Fake.
Oh, yeah.
See, I reckon it depends on if I'm expecting something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't tell.
Yeah, no, the delivery fee is, no, that'd be fake, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our third one.
I reckon that's fake.
I do too.
I reckon that's real. There you go.
All right, well done. Okay, so first one. So this one was actually legitimate. You'll notice that it's the only message of the three that has a mypo.st link format. So the second image was actually a scam. So cutley.ly is a link shortener, and it's been used in other scams that eventually take you to a page that asks you for credit card details. So someone mentioned that, I couldn't remember who, about like the extra fees and things like that. Like that's pretty highly unlikely that would actually happen. So even the third image as well. So this one was also a scam. It also used a shortened bit.ly link shortener. And it does contain a tracking number, which isn't usually supplied on legitimate messages. All right. So the overview of Scanwatch. So it's run by the ACCC. It provides advice to consumers and small business about how to recognise and report scams and also to avoid them. It works with other consumer protection agencies to promote scam awareness. Scamwatch doesn't give any legal advice or doesn't do any investigation. It's pretty much collecting the data, plotting the trends, and then also works to disrupting any scams. So far this year, there's been 230,000 reports with over $225 million in losses. So some of the ways Scamwatch disrupts scams is through intelligence sharing, consumer education, and then website takedowns. So the latest scam trends. Scamwatch has provided an overview of the top scam trends it's seeing at the moment. So phishing scams are the category being most frequently reported to Scamwatch at the moment. So what a phishing scam is, it's a type of social engineering attack, a type of social engineering attack often used to steal data. I'm not sure if anyone's come across like the Apple email that you get from Apple iTunes saying, hey, click here to sign in, or it could be an Office 365 or a Google email that comes through. And when you click on that link, it takes you to a website. Most notably, those websites, you'll see if it's an Apple email, it doesn't have actually Apple in the address bar at the top. Then what happens is you'll be asked to put your username and password in, which is at that point, if you enter that data in, that's where your account gets compromised because the hackers pretty much got your details at that point. So driving factor of this is Flubot scams. So Flubot is a term given to malware scams that infect your phone by enticing you to click on a dodgy link. There have been many different patterns with these messages. It might be a claim number of things, it might be a voicemail, or telling you there's a parcel on the way. So pretty much it entices you by clicking on the link, but it's all a scam. It's designed to steal your contacts that are on your phone, as well as your banking information. Has anyone received any of these? I know recently I got one actually this morning from THL, coincidentally. Yep.
Yeah, I've found it's been prolific recently.
Yeah, almost one a day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you may have received one of these and didn't think to report it. Scamwatch has over 18,000 reports and almost $11,000 in losses just since August alone on these.
So is that the process, Paul? Once you get something like that, you report it to Scamwatch?
That's exactly right. Yep. If you jump online at the end of the presentation, we'll go over some of the ways you report it and who to report it to and things like that. So how these Flubot scams work. So the graphic provides a basic overview of how Flubot scams work. Essentially, Flubot scams work by enticing you to click on a link, claiming you got a voicemail to listen to or a parcel to track. After you click this link, you're invited to download and install software. Now, once this is installed, your device is infected with malware. This piece of malware can actually read the contacts on your phone, including any of the contacts that you have, whether it's in Outlook or the contacts themselves. These contacts are then sent to a master list that they have, where then they use that master list to then rebroadcast out the same message again. The scary part is that if you're using your phone to do any online banking or make payments, which pretty much most of us do these days, the Flubot can actually steal your banking information as well. So there are some more real examples of these later on in the slides, so you can sort of familiarize yourself with what they look like and what to detect, so you can avoid them in future. Okay, so these are the latest trends that continue. So investment scams are also increasing at the moment and continue to be among the most highest loss scams reported to Scamwatch. Losses to cryptocurrency investment scams in particular have been increasing. These just usually involve someone being enticed to buy crypto using a fake investment platform. Once they put their money in, the fake website might even be sophisticated enough to show them their investment is growing. This builds confidence and encourages further investment. Eventually, though, when they try to withdraw their money, they suddenly can't access the website, and any brokers they may have been dealing with are uncontactable. This is really important to vet any investment opportunities before putting money down, and only invest as much as you're prepared to lose. Dating and romance scams. So losses tend to be very high due to the emotional manipulation element of dating and romance scams that can be used to extract large amounts of money from people. The excuses scammers will use to get someone to send them money in a dating and romance scam, they're endless, but usually involved in wanting money to come and visit, either for medical bills or for any other very personal and emotional reason. There has been an increase in romance baiting that starts off as a dating romance scam, but the victim is then lured by the person they are talking to into an investment scam. There is a case study of a real romance baiting scam to look at later, so you can see how this works as well. Okay, so let's look at some of the case studies. Hopefully you'll be able to learn something valuable about detecting scams and the importance of talking to someone if you're suspicious, whether it's for yourself or whether you know someone you're concerned about who might be getting involved in a scam. Okay, so I got my screen's hiding in. So this is just a poll. Did anyone buy a pet during lockdown out of curiosity? It might have been this year or last year.
No, I tell you what, though, my son got scammed by one of those.
Okay, interesting, because this is pretty much the case study. So, well, lots of people did buy puppies or other pets last year. Unfortunately, scammers knew that we're all sort of stuck at home, and that many people would be feeling lonely and looking for a companion during really uncertain times. So, just for this case study in particular, so this person lost, unfortunately, $12,055, but there was an anonymous scam watcher reported that they come across a website selling puppies. That the seller was based in Perth, but they agreed they could ship the puppy to the customer in Sydney. So this person made a deposit of, made an initial payment, sorry, of $1,850. They received the confirmation email that the dog's been shipped. Then they started to receive continual requests for additional payments, including a dog crate, pet insurance, pet vaccinations, state permits, and coronavirus insurance. At this point, the victim realized that the bank details they were given didn't actually match the courier company or the freight or logistics company that they had initially been given details for. So it's worth considering whether a conversation with someone could help avoid the scam. For example, while $1,850 is a lot of money, it's actually relatively cheap for puppies in the current market. If someone in this victim's life had asked them more about whether they had been getting the pup or where they had been getting the puppy from, they may have helped to uncover the scam before purchasing the dog or before sending extra payments, and may have helped prevent the victim from falling for the scam, or at least reduce the amount of money lost overall. All right, so the third, did I just skip one? Oh, yeah, cool. So the third case study I have here is the romance baiting scam. So these types of scams can be particularly difficult to intervene given the private and emotional nature of the relationship between the victim and the scammer. Scamwatch advice is to do not take financial advice from anyone, from someone unqualified or you have only met online. If an opportunity seems too good, it more than likely is. So case study, did I just skip one? I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong screen. I apologize, everyone. I knew I was going to mess this one up. So the third case study is a website takedown. So this is more of a positive news story. It's an example of a recent website takedown where that the Scamwatch team did. So Scamwatch received reports of a $9,000 in losses to a website called Trade Capital FX in the month of May. People had been scammed after using the site to buy Bitcoin. The website looked legitimate, but the victims were unable to withdraw their profits after making initial investments or were asked to pay additional fees in order to have their funds released. Scamwatch decided to take action before anyone else fell victim. So this is what the actual website looked like. So it's just a completely fake website. So Scamwatch investigated and determined that the website was a scam. There were a few signs that they knew it was dodgy. The first one being the website was created in January 2021, but its certificate of incorporation claimed the copyright years 2017 and 2020. The address used on the website wasn't a real address. The name of the company on the certificate of incorporation also didn't match the company name that was displayed on the website as well. So Scamwatch gathered all this evidence, submitted it to the web hosting provider, where they then actioned or validated all those details and then actioned it by removing the website. Whilst this doesn't help get the money back for the victims who did get scammed on the site, it does help prevent others from going through the same thing. You should always carefully vet any investment opportunities using legitimate sources. This can be difficult to do with Bitcoin investments. Many people who were scammed by this site originally met their broker through Instagram or similar. So our number one tip is you really don't take any investment advice from someone you met online. If you're considering something and you're unsure how to tell if it's legit, talk to someone and ask a few questions before putting any money down. So here's some more examples of Flubot texts. The scammers adapt quickly and change their messages regularly before people catch on. These examples are all scams. None of these are legitimate. So I don't know if anyone can recognize any of these scams. So there's some telltale signs that these are scam messages. So you can usually tell by the links. They don't appear to be related to what the message is supposed to be talking about, like the Australia Post not relating to AusPost, or Amazon, the same thing, eBay. Spelling mistakes. Most of the time, these guys don't know how to spell. So you'll notice that as always the first thing. The other really important one is what we talked about earlier, is if you're asked to install any software, whether that's on your phone, tablet, computer, that should never happen pretty much, especially if it's coming from a text message. Okay, so what Scamwatch is doing about scams. So a brief overview of what Scamwatch does with regards to scam disruption. In addition to website takedowns, there's also a whole lot of other disruption work going on behind the scenes in collaboration with other government agencies and private sector. Scamwatch uses the information it receives through reports to identify emerging scam trends and repeat offenders, which can be referred to for further action. Scamwatch shares information with government agencies and law enforcement in order to target specific scams and issues. You may be aware that other agencies in the fraud and cybercrime space, and Scamwatch works closely with them to identify and stop scammers. Scamwatch also regularly shares information with the private sector, including telco, tech, banks, and many other businesses on an ad hoc basis to help tackle scams as they emerge. For example, when Flubot Scams started emerging, Scamwatch worked with the private industry. These are telcos and companies that were being impersonated, such as AusPost and Amazon, to get warnings out to their customers, develop advice for people whose devices had been compromised, and also share intel on which numbers were being used to scam and any other repeat offenders. Because basically, telecommunications companies, they can block certain phone numbers. If you've sort of noticed on those, the messages the scam messages that we get, they're from a particular phone number. So they can actually get those blocked on the telco network to try and at least mitigate these guys from, spamming us. Okay, so Scamwatch has a big focus on consumer awareness and education. When it comes to scams, prevention is better than a cure. If people are educated about scams and are aware of them, they're less likely to fall for them. Overview of activities Scamwatch does in this space. So running Scamwatch Awareness or Scams Awareness Week. This is an annual campaign dedicated to raising awareness of scams. It's a large-scale collaboration with government and private sector, with over 300 partners participating this year alone to help spread the word. Targeting Scams Report, an annual report that we put out each year outlining the scam trends for the previous year. So the Scamwatch radar alerts, you might know about these already, but it's a Scamwatch email alert system where you can sign up to receive monthly updates. Little Black Book of Scams, it's a great quick reference guide to scams. In short, it's easy to read and available in 10 different languages. Media is also another tool. We get messages out through Facebook and Twitter. I'd encourage you to, if you're not already following them on Facebook, they're pretty active. So they are always releasing daily updates about the latest scams. These are just the team's key projects throughout the calendar year, and Scamwatch have an ongoing commitment to raising awareness. So what you can do about scams. When it comes to scams, as we've already mentioned, prevention is better than a cure. It can be difficult to recover lost money to a scam, and even more difficult to recover your identity if your personal information is stolen. The number one way we can prevent scams is by talking about them. We recommend using the talk method. So that's by talking to your friends and family, asking a simple question, sharing scam stories. I think that's really important. I've noticed that people who are either hacked, being in the IT game, people that are hacked are usually, well, definitely not proud that they have been hacked or compromised. So talking about those things, raising that awareness will keep it front of mind always for other people. And then also keep talking. So the same thing, awareness, raising awareness. So in terms of reporting scams and where you can get help if you or someone you know has been scammed. So first of all is reporting them to Scamwatch. Even if you didn't fall for it, it's still good for them to know that it's happened. And again, like I said earlier, they plot the trends and collect the data. If you've lost money to a scam, contact your bank or financial institution as soon as possible. The Australian Banking Association provides a summary of steps for consumers when making a complaint to their bank. If you've lost personal information or you're concerned your identity may be compromised, you can contact ID Care for some free support. Consider contacting the platform on which you were scammed. So if it's like Facebook, reach out to Facebook, report those posts, Twitter, LinkedIn, those type of things, just to ensure they're removed as fast as possible so no one else falls to them. As well, getting scammed can be very confronting, can be a very confronting experience, even if there's no money lost. So if you or someone you know are experiencing anxiety, emotional concerns, or distress about scams, contact Lifeline or Beyond Blue. So their numbers are there on the screen as well.
Or in my case, I contacted Paul to say, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
Or your friendly IT guy, yes. As mentioned before, Scam Awareness Week is a national campaign by the Scam Awareness Network. It's a group of Australian and New Zealand government agencies with a responsibility for consumer protection and policing in scams, cyber safety and fraud. The network aims to reduce the impact of scams by raising awareness and encouraging the public to talk about scams and report them. Each year, Scam Awareness Week has a different focus, and it's delivered in collaboration with a large number of partners, including government, industry, consumer groups, and small business, and even big business as well. This year, the campaign's focus is Let's Talk Scams, aimed at getting people talking to help reduce the stigma around scams. And this is why when we come across it, we're like, cool, this is something that, given how important cybersecurity is at the moment for business, trying to raise as much awareness and education around this topic is paramount for us. Cool. And really appreciate everyone for joining today. Does anyone have any just general questions at all?
I was curious if anybody has been scammed in this group. No? No. But I'm sure we've all... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kathy.
I was just going to say, that puppy scan, my son got done. He ordered a puppy from Darwin, and it was quite interesting because he forwarded it on to us. And as we were reading through it, we just went, hang on, this doesn't sound right. Did kind of steps, and we sort of said, no, it doesn't. And we got to the bottom of it. And he was able to get to the bank and stop the payment. So, which was very lucky. But yeah.
Kara's saying, Kara, do you want to put your mic on, or would you rather I read it? Is she there? Okay, so Kara's saying her husband, she can't. Her husband was scammed for a number of years, and it was a magazine ad scam and donations. So significant.
Yeah, and I mean,
for a number of years, that's insane.
Even when it comes to reporting as well, for business owners, especially if they're compromised or if their data gets breached, it is on the business owners on their record to actually report to the government that they have been breached or hacked, because it's about protecting the information that these hackers could steal on our computers. When you really think about it, we store, could be when you download your EFT receipts, your ABA files that you might upload to the bank, all those kinds of things. Could be employee records, stuff like that. We had an incident once where a client's computer was compromised. They didn't know, and the hacker was sitting there in the background. So when the ABA file, if anyone doesn't know what an ABA file is, it's a file that you download from Xero or MyOb to upload it to the bank. The hacker actually edited the text file before she uploaded it to the bank. So it actually went to the wrong bank account. That was really scary because for them, luckily the bank picked it up. I think it was the ANZ Bank, and they flagged that transaction. But that's the other scary part, is that you don't know who's in your computer if you accidentally have clicked on the wrong thing. And all it takes is one click these days if you don't have the right protections in place.
The thing that was continually coming through for me for weeks, I'm not sure about you guys, was a new voicemail, basically.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it was prolific. They were coming through thick and fast on a daily basis, and it has stopped in the last couple of weeks. So I think obviously this Scamwatch has been working and somehow shut that down. So do you want to speak to that, Paul?
That was what I was saying about with the telecommunications companies, where they can actually filter and block these text messages as well, because if they notice that a particular scam text is coming from a mobile number, they'll always what's called spoof a mobile number. They'll work with the telcos to actually block that number, say if anyone else possibly falls suspect, or blocking the word, they can actually filter those things. And as well, Scamwatch the website takedown effectively is when you click on that link and it takes you to that dodgy website, they'll find out where that website is hosted, and they'll then ask the provider to actually take down that website. So that's sort of more around website takedown. And they're forever out there. We've had a couple of instances where websites not being maintained. I think Chantal, you probably know as well about this stuff. If WordPress websites, for example,
I'm terrified when plugins or things aren't updated.
And they're cheeky as well. They'll get into the back end and create a subdomain website where they'll host these fraudulent websites and distribute the hacking and things like that, or files. Sorry.
Paul, how worried should you be about a phone call from a number? Like just during this, I had a call from Romania, which I obviously didn't answer.
Yeah.
But, I've had a few lately that have been from mobile numbers, and as soon as I've answered, the line goes dead. Is that something to be worried about?
No, those
number,
people. Well, those ones are also scams, but I think that they try and blast out and make as many phone calls as they can, hoping to hook that one person that will talk with them, and they'll take them through the "Hey, you're going to get arrested."
I've had that one.
Yeah.
Or the tax office is after you.
That's right.
The problem was I believed them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, they found out.
Guilty conscience.
No.
What about those phone calls that you get a missed call and you call back and it's someone who's like, I didn't give you a call? Like, how do they get into, like, I've heard a few stories of some people's phone numbers they can somehow make a call from the phone number, then you call the person back and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, actually, my sister-in-law copped something similar. Someone was spamming dodgy texts as her mobile number, and she started getting all these phone calls from people like, hey, why are you sending me a message, and so on. You can't actually stop that. And I think the Telstra is starting to work with the other telecommunications companies about introducing laws so that people can't forge their phone numbers. Again, they have to put the systems and the policies in place, because it's actually quite easy to pretend to be someone that you're not through making a phone call or sending a text message. There's no validation as yet in the systems.
Okay.
Yeah, are there, I'd heard sort of rumours insofar as phone calls that sometimes they will record your voice saying yes or something and then use it for, I'm not quite sure what, but just as an identity kind of thing, or have you heard anything?
Interesting. I haven't heard about anything like that specifically, but I'm not sure if overseas some systems can use voice validation. Actually, I think, no, I have. ATO uses voice
ATO
validation.
does, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So that's really interesting. That people are, yeah, I never thought, I haven't come across that one, to be honest, but that's quite.
That is interesting, especially if you answer with your name.
Mm-hmm.
So then they've got a recording of your voice saying your name.
Well, my bank, when I use my app and I want to transfer, if it's over a certain amount, it uses my voice to confirm my identity. So
you're just gonna have to keep changing your voice now, Stacey. Every phone call, you're gonna be close.
That's right.
If you don't know the number, yeah.
The others that I've had to SMSs when I've won the lottery. It's been so tempting to press on that link.
Yes.
No.
Wouldn't that be nice? And then you remember that you don't actually buy lottery tickets.
Yeah.
And it's usually in pounds as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Is there any other questions from anyone? No? All right. Well, that was a good session. Thank you, Paul.
Cool. Yeah, really appreciate everyone joining today. And this is my very first webinar, so if I sounded nervous, yeah,
You didn't. You didn't.
not at all.
It was very
just
good.
gonna-
Thanks, Paul.
I'm just going to stop